am your father. I brought you in this world, and I'll take you out.
In September 1984, America met the Huxtables. Not in a mansion, not in a fairy tale, but inside a warm Brooklyn home where laughter sounded like real life. The Cosby Show ran on NBC for 8 seasons, ending in April 1992, and it left behind 201 episodes that still feel like family photo albums you can hear. It was built from stand-up, shaped into a sitcom, and filmed in New York, giving it a lived-in heartbeat that many shows could never fake. And if you think you know the whole story, stay close, because the real surprises are hiding in the small details. Fact number 10. The pilot where the Huxtables were still becoming themselves. The very first time the Huxtables stepped onto that set, they were not quite the family you remember. The pilot was taped in May 1984, months before the show was fully picked up, and the household was missing someone important. There were only 4 children in that first episode. Sandra, the eldest, did not appear until later in season 1. With the story explaining she had been away at college. Even Cliff's identity was still settling. The plaque outside his office used Clifford. And early on, the producers had not even finalized whether the brownstone was in Brooklyn or Manhattan. You can almost feel the show finding its footing in real time, like a family moving into a house and learning where the light falls. And once they found it, everything changed. Fact number 9. The Brooklyn brownstone that was secretly Manhattan. For 8 seasons, the Huxtables welcomed us home in Brooklyn. But the famous front steps were not in Brooklyn at all. The exterior used for establishing shots was a real brownstone facade in Manhattan's Greenwich Village at 10 St. Luke's Place, also described as 10 Leroy Street. Inside, the cozy living room and that beloved staircase were never inside that building. They were built on sound stages, first at NBC's Brooklyn studios, and later at Kaufman Astoria Studios in Queens. It is a classic New York illusion. 3 boroughs stitched together to feel like one family home. And maybe that is why it worked. Because television, like memory, is built from carefully chosen places. Fact number 8. The theme song was the same memory, told by new musicians every year. That opening music felt familiar, but it was quietly changing under our ears. The show's theme, Kiss Me, was composed by Stu Gardner and Bill Cosby, and it was reworked into multiple versions across the series. In season 4, it arrived with Bobby McFerrin's voice and rhythm. In season 5, it expanded into a full symphonic arrangement, performed by the Oregon Symphony, under conductor James DePriest. In season 6 and 7, the sound shifted into smooth jazz, led by saxophonist Craig Handy. And in season 8, the final year, it took on a bold new edge with trumpeter Lester Bowie. It was like watching the same family photo, but in different frames and lighting, year after year. Fact number 7. The Huxtable living room was quietly a black art gallery. Look closely at the walls behind the jokes. The Cosby Show was also hanging history. Bill and Camille Cosby deliberately filled the Huxtable, home with African-American art. So the warmth of that family included the warmth of a culture, right there in the background of everyday life. One of the artist's viewers, unknowingly welcomed into their homes, was Varnette Honeywood. Her paintings and collages appeared as set dressing, including her 1974 work birthday, which was used on the Huxtable set, and her pieces were rotated through the show's run. It was not announced, not explained, just present, like family heirlooms on a wall, reminding you that success could be ordinary, tasteful, and proudly seen. Fact number 6. The pregnancy storyline the writers refused to tell. When Lisa Bonet became pregnant in real life, the producers faced a choice that could have reshaped the whole Cosby universe. Debbie Allen suggested they write the pregnancy into a different world as a chance to show an upper-class young woman having a child while remaining unmarried. But Bill Cosby and other producers did not want to explore Denise as an unwed mother, worried it would send the wrong message. And Cosby was strongly opposed to a Huxtable child having an unplanned pregnancy. The decision pushed the character's path onto a different road, and Denise's story was adjusted accordingly. Television usually hides these turning points, but this one quietly changed 2 shows at once. Fact number 5. The Huxtables were almost a limo driver and a plumber. Before the sweaters, the books, and those dinner table debates, the Huxtables were pitched as a working-class couple. In early development, Bill Cosby imagined Cliff not as a doctor, but as a limousine driver, and Claire not as an attorney, but as a plumber. Then the idea shifted. The show could still feel warm and familiar, But it could also quietly show something television rarely allowed in 1984. A black family whose success looked ordinary. Not flashy, just lived in. The change was not about perfection. It was about possibility. Letting viewers see a home where achievement sat beside, humor like it belonged there. And once that decision locked in, the writers had to make the details believable, right down to the degrees on the wall. Fact number 4, New York City kept the Huxtable kids grounded. Most hit sitcoms raised child actors inside Hollywood. But The Cosby Show grew up in New York. Malcolm, Jamal Warner later said that filming in NYC, with far fewer TV productions around them, meant the young cast made friends who were not in the entertainment business. After tapings, life did not feel like a studio bubble. It felt like a real city with school mornings, regular people, and a world that did not revolve around fame. Warner credited that rhythm with giving him a more balanced adolescence. Something you can almost sense in the show's calm, lived-in energy. It is a quiet behind-the-scenes reason the Huxtables never felt like cartoons. Fact number 3, the opening credits that vanished because of a mural dispute. In 1990, the show filmed a brand new Season 7 opening. The cast dancing in front of a bright street mural. But that mural became a problem, big enough to erase the whole sequence. Reports at the time described a dispute tied to Street of Dreams, a Harlem mural painted by students from the Creative Arts Workshop for Homeless Children, and questions over clearance and compensation. With the issue unresolved, NBC replaced the Season 7 opening with the previous season's Apollo Theater-style intro, like quietly swapping a photograph in a family album before anyone notices. Later, a version of the Season 7 opening returned in Season 8, with changes. A few seconds of TV history, lost and then restored because art matters, even in the background. Fact number 2, the night New York City came to say goodbye in person. When The Cosby Show was wrapping up in early 1992, it did not feel like a routine TV day. It felt like a city paying respects. At the final taping in New York, Mayor David Dinkins came to watch. A real public moment quietly happening behind the studio doors. And during breaks, Boys the Two Men even showed up to sing and harmonize, as if the crew needed one last lullaby before the lights went out. The series finale, and so we commence, would air on April 30th, 1992, but that taping was the true farewell. Applause echoing while everyone realized an era was ending. Fact number 1, the ratings record that turned a sitcom into a national event. For 5 straight seasons, The Cosby Show did something almost impossible. It became the #1 show on American television, year after year. Like a weekly holiday families kept on the calendar. Nielsen history is tough, but the record is clear. The Cosby Show spent 5 consecutive seasons at #1. A feat matched in sitcom history, only by All in the Family. And it remains the only scripted series with a predominantly African-American cast to top the Nielsen ratings, and to do it more than once. The sweaters, the laughter. The lessons, they were not just popular. They were a shared national ritual. Because long after the last studio applause faded on April 30th, 1992, the feeling stayed. A family on a screen that somehow made millions of living rooms feel a little more gentle. And if you listen closely, you can still hear it. Not just the theme song, but the soft hum of a projector in the heart, reminding us what good television used to be, a place to come home.